Today we're going to focus on how to make money in Africa. Africa has one of the fastest growing youth population. 60% of African population is youth, and it is the fastest growing population in the world. And that comes with pros and cons. The pros are the future belongs to Africa, because if you look at any other continent, they have a very aging population. But also we've got cons. The cons is Africa does not prepare a future for these young people. And the biggest problem there is employment. Most African countries and most African education systems only teach our young people only to be employed. And that simply means that majority of our people, unless somebody gainfully employs them, have no means, have no mental capacity to think of ways of creating money. And that creates a big problem, because in the society we live in, we need money. You cannot survive without money at all. So learning how to make money is a life skill that can either make or break you. It is a life and death situation, because in this age and era, unfortunately, you cannot live without money. Everything costs money. It reaches a point where even breathing costs money, food costs money, living costs money. In simple terms, I'll say that it costs money. It costs money to come into this world. Have you seen how much it costs for maternity, what a maternity costs are? It costs money. It costs money to come into this world. It costs money to be in this world. And it costs money to leave this world. Have you noticed how expensive funerals have become? So there is no way you're going to avoid money, whether you like it or not. As long as you still live in this physical form that you call a human being, you can't run away from money. So if you don't have money, you have a problem, Roger. So we have to try and fix that, because it's one of those life necessities we cannot run away from. Now, most of us as black people, I included in that, we come from very poor families. We don't come from affluent families. And one of the worst inheritance with that is we've inherited a scarcity mindset. We living off our parents' financial script, our father's money script. I remember as a young person, anytime my dad was involved in any financial transaction, going to the shop to buy something, going to buy a car, going to buy a bicycle, there is no single moment where he included me in the transaction. It was always for me. He used to send me away. And I've inherited that. I've struggled with that. It's something I constantly have to keep on working on to change. Now, being born in a scarcity mindset means we have a poverty mindset. That becomes the first thing that we have to change. We've been trained, and most of our African youth have been trained only to do one thing: how to spend money. We don't know any other facet of money. So let's start there in the beginning, because we cannot talk about the evolution of money without looking at the history of money. I divide money into three parts that we all have to understand. Number one here is creation. You have to know how to create money. Number two here is investment. And number three, we have to look at how do you spend your money. Now let's look at creation. There are two ways you can make money. One, you can earn money. Earning money is through gainful employment. And this, unfortunately, this has become the biggest source of income for most of us black people. We're constantly looking for a job. We go to school, you get good grades, you send a CV out there. If somebody does not employ you, you can't make a living. Now, there's a big problem in a world where now unemployment is becoming the biggest threat, because very few people are employing others. You have mergers, you've got downsizing, and especially after the COVID epidemic. We have problems now where more and more people, we have technology taking over so many jobs. So where are our kids going to get employed? We have universities at this point that are taking in students and by the time you finish earning your degree, the job that you studied for is completely out. It's completely outdated. Nobody can employ you. So we've got earning. Earning is a big problem that we have. I'm going to sit on that in this topic on how we're going to avoid that. But employment is something that you have to avoid. Employment, there's a big difference between employment and what I call deployment here. We need our youth to be deployed, not employed. Employment simply means you're living on another man's grace. It's a 30-day cycle. After every 30 days, if you don't get paid, if you look at most of black middle class, we only are 30 days away from the township, from townhouse to the township in 30 days. Because if you miss one paycheck, you can't pay for your car, you can't pay for your housing, you can't feed yourself. Now, that's a very dangerous life. So this is depending, it's a 30-day cycle where you depend on another man's grace. Deployment is being on a mission. Deployment is turning yourself into a missionary, living out there, going out there and having a mission of creating something and making sure that becoming so good in whatever you've created, which is a solution to the community or people's problem, and they pay you in return. Now, if you out there as a missionary, if you out there as a tool, if you out there as a solution to a big problem, chances of you running out of money will never run out, because wherever there is problems, wherever there is human beings, there's always problems. Wherever there are people, there will always be problems. So we need to turn our kids from being employed to being deployed. The other one here is creation. You can either earn money or creation. You can either earn money or create money. And creation is where deployment comes in. This is employment, this is entrepreneurship. There is no single society or there's no single place where there's no problems. We have to train our young people to have a mindset where they can see opportunities in obstacles, where constantly, wherever they are, whatever your struggle is, anything that you're struggling with in your life, you're not the only one that is going through it as a problem. And if you're facing it as a problem, it means there's so many other millions of people out there. So if you come up with a solution to that problem, automatically in this society we live in, unfortunately, the only way people are going to buy or pay for your services or products is by giving you money. So we need to change from there. So majority of us, if you look at South Africa, the biggest employer is government. So it's here earning money. So if anything happens to the economy, if the whole world economy goes down, we'll have a big problem in this country, because who is going to employ all of these people? People need to create jobs. And this is where we come in as entrepreneurship. Investment. When you earn money, the important thing is what do you do with it? Because your wealth is not determined by how much money you have. Your wealth is determined by how much money you have left after you've financed your life. Now, because we come from a poverty mindset, unfortunately, we're the biggest spenders. So you'll find the people that are employed are the people that will spend most of their money in labels. They're the people that drive the fanciest cars. They're the people that go on holidays. They're the people that do all these things. So we find it much easier to upgrade our lifestyle, but not our life. And this is where investment comes in. Being rich is not how much money you make. Being rich is simply living under your means. And there's two ways you can live below your means. You can live below your means by having less requirements on your life, or you can live below your means by making more money than you'll ever need. But most people, unfortunately, we don't focus on that. We focus more on trying to cut down. So investment, you have to have less, you have to spend more money. You have to have more money at the end of the month than the days of the month. Most of us have no idea where investment comes in. So what do, we end up, when it comes to spending, we become spenders. The difference between investment and spending here is, spending is money going out. The money is constantly going from your pocket into other people's pockets. If you look at us as black people, we are good spenders, but very bad investors. Investment is whatever money, whatever you put your money, it will give you money back. This is the only time you want your money to be unfaithful. You want it to go out there, have as many affairs as possible, and come back with multiple kids. Spending is where you constantly keep on, the money is burning in your pocket. You can't hold on to it. You're spending even money before you earn it. You go spend a lot of your money on laybys. At the end of the month, your hand is purely as a stage where it comes from your employer, comes through your hands and goes back to your employer. And that's what you see, it happens to most of us. So until we understand these three areas, most of us only know how to create through earning, and then from there how to spend it. We're missing this part. And unless you understand this, you're not going to be able to create wealth. Then it brings us to the next problem. How do we fix this problem? Now, to fix this problem, there's two ways we can do this. Number one is change of mindset. We need to understand that before we start competing with these other people, we have to understand their history. Somebody that has an inheritance, it's totally different than if you're earning the same amount of money. Most of us as black people, we don't come from backgrounds where we have an inheritance from our parents. Unfortunately or fortunate enough, we have to take care of them. When they get older, they have nothing because they spend everything that they had on bringing us up. So as they get older, they become kids, they start relying on us. The other races, unfortunately, as they get older, they become more richer. And a good example to look at this, when a black man dies, the family's income is completely shattered. When a white man dies, the family creates wealth because he has a life policy. So when he dies, straight away, boom, it's 20 million into that family, boom, 50 million into that family. So death for white families, in most cases, it becomes intergenerational wealth. It keeps that generation from poverty into prosperity. But for us, unfortunately, it's different. So we need to start learning. We have to become that gap. You have to become that person in your generation that is going to stop poverty. And to do that, it means first and foremost, we have to be very careful where our money goes, and we have to start investing in life insurance policies. As much as we don't like to talk about death as black people, but this is a very big opportunity for us to jumpstart our youth, for us to jumpstart our generation into wealth creation. The second thing here is change of habits. We have change of habits. We have bad habits. We have very bad money habits. We just can't keep money in our pockets at all. We can't. We're constantly just looking for ways of burning this money, ways of spending this money. And we spend this money on stupid things. Most of us as black people, unfortunately, because we come from very deprived backgrounds, we're very good at upgrading our lifestyle, but not our lives. And what do I mean by that? To upgrade your lifestyle, you want to be able to be seen in the latest car model while you can't really afford it. You want to be seen in your latest clothing label while you can't afford it. You want to be seen buying useless things like big television sets. You want to be seen going on holidays while you finance it on your credit card. We don't really know how to invest money. So there's a big difference between upgrading your lifestyle and upgrading your life. Majority of us, unless the Mothepis of this country, we're still not at that stage where we can start upgrading our lifestyle. We have to focus more on upgrading our life. And to do this, we have to learn delayed gratification. Don't compete with others because you don't know their history. You don't know what their main source of income is. Just because somebody earns $10,000 like you monthly does not necessarily mean you equal. You don't know what their other source of income is. You don't know what policies they have. You don't know what his inheritance is. You don't know if he's inherited. This car is fully paid for. His housing, he got it at the age of 21. He has no mortgage. So if you start competing or start trying to live the kind of lifestyle this person does, you're not only doing yourself disservice, but you are stealing from the next generation. We need to end poverty, but we cannot end poverty without sacrifices. Somebody has to sacrifice. We have to stop pointing fingers at our fathers, blaming them for the poverty we've inherited while we're doing the same to our kids. You have to say, I'm going to be the sacrificial lamb in my family. I'm going to be the financial martyr in my family. Poverty ends with me. And to do that, it means I'm going to live within my means. I'm going to delay living the kind of life that everybody around me is living, so that in another 10 years, I'll be able to live a kind of life that they can only dream of. Those are things that we have to do. Number 3 here, the important thing here is we have to study money creating skills, money skills. And things like here, we're talking about things like sales. We're talking things about marketing. We're talking about technology. We're talking about things like Bitcoin. That's where the world is going. We're going in a world where technology is taking over. Africa, and especially if we talk about South Africa now, majority of us black men, we only qualify to do manual labor. But unfortunately, technology is taking away those kind of jobs. Right now, you've got places like McDonald's where there's no human being. Everything is automated, from ordering food, from being served, from being cooked. There's no human beings. There's so many places, and there's so many other areas you can see where technology is going to take over. Petrol station attendants, technology is going to take over. Security guards in complexes, drones are going to take over. Technology is going to take over. There's so many jobs of farming, where people have to go and literally they have to drive a tractor. They have to dig the ground. Those things are going away. In another 5 years, Uber drivers, we've got self-driving cars. So when you look at technology and Africa, it's bad news for us unless we change very quickly, unless we technologize our people so that they start using technology to make our lives easier rather than using technology for entertainment. We're going to end up in trouble. So if we want to make money, these are the things that we have to look at. But the question here is, how do I make money now and I'm unemployed? Most young people I see are always looking for a job. They come with all these big CVs of whatever they've studied at home, but they do not have any practical experience. So they come and they try to sell you theory. I've gone to university for the last 7 years and I only want a starting salary of 40,000. But you've never worked. So what most young people must start doing, they can only start here from the earning part, but you have to start looking for work. When I'm talking about work, it makes it much easier because you can come and look around you. What are the things that needs to be done? It could be as easy as digging. If you look at South Africa, the average daily rate for manual labor is between 200 and 250 rands. So if you do that and you try to live within that means, you need some starting capital, you need breathing space, you need a place to eat, a place to sleep, you need food to eat, you need to be able to take yourself. You cannot think big if the small little things are not being provided in your life. Now, majority of young graduates don't want to work. They focus more on a job. If you're not giving me a fixed term job, I'm not going to be able to do it. And unfortunately, most people are too scared. As a business person, it's so hard for me to be able to invest in you, we agree on where I'm going to pay you 20,000, 30,000 a month, and I don't really know what you're going to give me. You have no skin in the game. That you haven't proven anything, but you're refusing to do consultation work. It makes it much easier for the young people. So going forward, these three things are the most important things that we have to do. We have to understand how to create money rather than earning money. We have to start understanding what investment is. We have to start understanding how to spend money by spending less than what we're earning. We have to change our mindset, and we start our mindset by changing, by seeing opportunities and obstacles. We have to start looking at different ways using technology. Everybody has a smartphone. I mean, South Africa has one of the highest internet penetration in the world. If I'm not wrong, I think 65%. If 65% of our people have internet access, there's so much you can do online if you're looking for opportunities in terms of changing your mindset. And to do that, somebody that has a poverty mindset, if I tell him that you can go online and you can do trading and earn $1,000 a day, chances are you look at me as a scammer. But if somebody has a prosperity mindset, an abundance mindset, they'll go try it and see. So we need to change that. Habits take time, but habits are your these are your automatic daily activities. These are the things that you do without thinking. That coffee you keep on buying while you can make your own coffee at home. Eating out 3 times a day and you cannot afford to pay rent. All those are bad habits. Trying to buying clothes every single month. Trying to go for the most expensive. All those are bad habits that are completely killing you. Not shopping in bulk in places like Macro, all those places. And of course, you have to constantly fall in love with money, and you have to start studying money. There is a big history about money that we have to understand. And unless we understand that history, we are going to struggle with money right now. Because if you are using your father's way or strategies of making money in this current technologically driven environment, you're going to struggle. Let me know where you are. Let me know if this resonates with you. Let me know what you want me to talk about. Let me know if you're struggling with money, and if you are, what are you doing about it? Let's have a discussion in the comment section. Take care. God bless you. And always remember, you are a man of honor.